That, of course, was Sweet's tribute to Bob Holness, Blockbuster, and welcome to a very, very strange Samantha's Sunday night party. There's something weird in the air. It's the World Cup final. Across Birmingham, or across bits of Birmingham, there are power cuts. It's dreadful. And people are phoning on and going, what shall we do? Tune to Radio 5. You can listen to the football there. But if we hear anything from the MEB about these power cuts that we're getting, we've had a couple here. And it was very strange. I was in Ken's studio and we were having a chat about my programme, as you may well have heard. And Ken said, and I was saying how spooked I was by all of these, what are they called? Meteorites and comets hitting Jupiter. And Ken said, yeah, I was always freaked out by eclipses, and I was really scared that it would go really dark, and at that point all the lights in the studio went out, and I thought, Ken, you have powers even I didn't know about. Anyway, it's all been really, really spooky and very, very strange. So if you're experiencing power failure at the moment, I will let you know as soon as I know anything about how long it might last. And people in Radio Stoke can't hear us either at the moment, so it's all going...
We'll talk about them while they're not listening.
Yeah, shall we? Northerners, that's what you are, you're Northerners. No, you're not really, you're lovely. Yeah, we could talk about them, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Big girls' blouses.
Never liked them anyway.
Anyway, no, we're only joking. Those people who are almost like a little bit in Stoke and can hear us on the Radio WM frequency, it's just our little joke. Anyway, coming up in the programme tonight, there is no Mike and there is no Paul. Why would that be? Where are they? Are they under the table? Let me look. No, don't think they're under the table. Are they in there with you, Ian, Mike and Paul? Are they there with you somewhere?
No, they're not here with me.
No? Clive and Stuart and Mike and Paul out there with you?
Even Clive isn't out there.
No, they're not there. Are they in the pub? Hello, pub! Is Mike and Paul with you? No! They're not in the pub either. They're not in the pub. They're not in the pictures. I wonder where they might be. Isn't there a football game this evening?
Well, there might be, yeah.
I think there might be a football game tonight. Maybe they're all round at the lad's house.
Male bonding.
Doing male bonding, drinking beer, which isn't big and it isn't clever, and they'll have headaches in the morning. Maybe they're drinking beer.
Tussling with each other.
Yeah.
In a manly sort of way.
Yes, they're having romps, probably manly romps, while they're watching the Oikball on the television. That's possibly what they're doing.
Instead of being here?
Instead of being here with us.
That can't be right.
Broadcasting to Samantha Meah land.
Minus Radio Stoke.
Minus Radio Stoke. A slightly smaller Samantha Meah land for the moment. I'm sure Radio Stoke will be back sometime very, very soon indeed. Anyway, in the absence of Mike and Paul, Ian is here, of course, because Ian is a dedicated, true Samantha Meah acolyte.
And he's a trooper.
And he's a trooper, of course. He's videoed the football.
He doesn't like football, then.
No, he doesn't like football much, no. But he's come in tonight. He's been responsible. He's fulfilled his responsibilities. He knows where his place is. He knows his place is at my side, or in this case, in the room next door. And you're here as well, Liza.
I am, yes.
Are you a football fan? We've never quite got to the bottom of this.
No, not really.
No.
No.
But do you have a favourite team that you'd like to win this evening?
No. Don't give 'em monkeys, I think is the phrase I'm looking for.
Well, there we are. Most people want the Zill to win.
Oh, really?
Rather than the Lee. Apart from my sister, who's half Italian, so she, of course,
wants the Lee.
She wants the Lee to win, but I do, in fact, want the Zill to win. But nobody here really cares very much.
No, I don't.
Nobody's bothered. Anyway, so if you want a football-free...
Anybody scored yet?
Lisa?
Sorry.
If you'd like a football-free couple of hours, then stay with us, and we won't mention it very much at all.
We're actually playing it in the studio, but you won't hear it.
You won't hear it. We'll do it ever so quietly, and we'll do it during the record, so it won't interfere with your enjoyment of Samantha's Sunday night party at all. Anyway, now it's time for Blondie, and this is Pretty Baby. That's Blondie and Pretty Baby. I'm sorry, Ian, I don't want any warning when the mics are going to be coming on. I wasn't...
So I'm just trying to do about 12 things at once.
I know, Ian, I know this is a bit of a bad time at the moment. Ian's having a very difficult time. He's talking to engineers, he's talking to his agent, to his accountant. He's trying to sort out the problem. His lawyer. He's trying to sort out the problem with Stoke, and it's all going horribly wrong, really. And if Paul was here, he'd be saying big swear words, because Paul has the language of a gutter snipe, listeners.
But Ian's been a well-brought-up young man.
Yes.
Youngish man.
Yes, that's right. And Ian doesn't swear, and Ian stays calm in the face of adversity. However, with Paul here, he'd be swearing.
Should we go in and
all over
hassle
the
him
place.
later?
Shall we?
Yeah.
Should we go and poke him?
I think so.
I don't think it would make him very happy, because he's a little bit fraught at the moment. Ian, can I ask you what kind of a week you've had?
No, not yet.
Thanks, Ian. Right, well, if you... But I was going to reach out a letter, but the letter's for Ian as well. Shall I do the results of last week's competition? The show is being rescheduled. You know how in the news, right, sometimes, you know when you have the news and it's all a bit of a disaster because the tapes break and then tapes aren't ready, and Martin Lewis puts on his serious face and he says, "We'll bring you that report later." Actually, we can bring you that report now.
Actually, I've got something to bring you on that, something similar on that in the newspaper's review, and it was something which I actually witnessed while I was in London.
What was that?
Well, it involved porn going out on LWT.
Oh, right, yes. Oh, they hit the wrong button, didn't they?
They certainly did.
It was the wrong button they hit. It wasn't done on purpose. Oh, no. Wrong button somebody hit. Anyway, now it's time for last week's competition. We asked you the question, what is the name of the furry thing that Scottish people wear on the front of their kilts, where they keep their fags and their money and their bus fare and their spangles and their jubblies?
And their mobile phones.
And their mobile phones, of course. Now, Bruce McGalvin from Warwick, and I assume with a name like McGalvin, you should have known better than the answer you gave me. However, the answer that you gave me, I can't read out on air because it's biological and it's a little bit rude. So I won't be reading that out. The answer was, of course, a sporran. A sporran. And the winner is Sylvia Phillips from Willenhall. Well done to you, Sylvia. You're going to win yourself a fabulous Samantha's Sunday night party goodie bag, and I really hope you enjoy that. Now it's time for this week's competition, and the question is...
Oh, we're living on the edge now, aren't we?
We are. I've just made this
You
one
haven't
up.
got one, have you?
Yes, I have,
Oh,
actually.
well done.
So, boo sucks, yar boo to you, actually, Baldy. I asked you the
Oh, he's put
question.
the phone down now, he's paying attention.
I'm going to ask you the question. I shall ask it now. What duo that isn't a duo anymore, it's like more people than a duo, but what duo at the time had a hit with a song called Electricity? Who had a hit with a song called Electricity? It was very good. In fact, they had 2 hits with it, I think. And it went bom 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 bom. Anyway, if you think, it's a bit of an esoteric question this week. It's not a question that everybody knows. It's for those devotees of Samantha's Sunday night party who aren't watching the Oikball this evening. The question is, who had a hit with Electricity? If you think you know, you'd like to win yourself a fabulous Samantha Sunday night party goodie bag, then do please give us a call on 021 if you're outside Birmingham, 432 2000. That's also the number, of course, for your dedications and your jokes. This is Erasure and Sometimes. Erasure and Sometimes, and they're not the answer to the competition question. The question is, I've forgotten. Yes, who had a hit with Electricity? Who had a hit with Electricity? Should I give them another clue?
They were a duo.
They're a duo, and they also had a hit with a song called Enola Gay.
Oh, I know the answer now.
Didn't you know?
No.
Oh, cool. They also had a hit with the song called Enola Gay. If you think you know and you'd like to win yourself a goodie bag, or if you'd like to phone in with your dedications and jokes, and I'll tell you there's probably a very good chance of you winning if you phone in tonight, because everybody's watching the football, then do give us a call on 021 if you're outside Birmingham, 432 2000. That is not to demean a top radio station, in fact several top radio stations, and of course a top programme. It's just a sad fact of life. I heard on the radio on the way up. Something like some ridiculous amount of millions of people are going to be watching it.
Isn't it going to be 27 billion, which is about 5 times the world's population are actually going to be watching the football?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's spooky.
Absolutely incredible. Maybe their tadpoles are watching.
Could be.
Because maybe people are getting out their tadpoles and their stick insects.
And the market researchers are counting them.
And they're counting them, and their frogs, and their bed bugs. Mm-hmm. And all those
they're dust mites.
Dust mites. And you have mites that live in your eyelashes. Don't you hate it when scientists do that? They've developed this technology where, as you know, where they can photograph a dust mite and it looks like a monster from hell. And now they've identified these little mites that live in your eyelashes that are really, really gross. And I'll tell you, if something's living in my eyelashes, I want rent for it. Especially in Notting Hill. Prices are astronomical. I get to come to Birmingham every Sunday as well and have larks here.
What cosmopolitan eyebrows and eyelashes you've got.
I know, they'll be thankful. Anyway, Ian, what kind of a week have you had?
Fine, thanks.
Are you having a really bad 20 minutes?
Oh, well, no, because it's not down to me. I'm just sort of at the fulcrum of events.
Oh, dear. So what's happening? Can you update us at all?
Yes. Apparently Radio Stoke are now back on. Hooray.
Oh, hello, Radio Stoke.
We missed you.
Yeah, we didn't talk about you.
We said some lovely things.
Yeah, we didn't call you names or anything.
Oh, no.
No, we
were very kind to Northerners as well, weren't we?
Particularly kind to Northerners. You're not Northerners in Stoke. You're practically Midlanders. Or do they like to think of themselves as Northerners?
I think they regard themselves as an independent kingdom in the Potteries.
Oh, right. You're the Potteries, of course you are. What nice pots you have there. I'm ever so sorry about you losing us, but you're back now, and we did say some sweet things to you, and we sang you nice songs.
And just for you, we'll be repeating the first 20 minutes of the show in about 5 minutes' time.
Yes, we are, so you won't have missed anything at all. But in case you missed the competition question, it is who had a hit with a song called Electricity, because we're having problems with electricity tonight. I suspect it's the heat. So this nice man came on to do our weather the other day. I think it was John Ketley, who is in fact a weatherman.
He is.
And he said there'll be some interference on your telly.
Ooh,
And so Mike switched it over. And he was right. Anyway, Ian, what kind of a week have you had?
Shouldn't have been interfering with your telly in the first place.
That was the whole joke.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm only half listening.
Oh, it's all right, babes.
Which is probably half more than I usually do anyway.
What kind of a week have you had?
I don't know, let me look in my diary. 12:30.
Ian keeps a diary.
Yeah, stopped the bridge from falling down. That was dull. The World and his wife came to Birmingham on, when was it? Monday.
Really?
Because the Radio Academy was down. And so all the national radio stations were doing it in Birmingham, as well as BBC's other operations. And I was there, working various switches for them. And one of our friends in commercial radio decided they'd disrupt the Radio 1 roadshow by sending in a sheep amongst the multitudes with a T-shirt bearing the legend, "I listen to Radio 1."
Oh, dear. Were Radio 1 amused?
I don't know.
I don't think the police were they?
I don't know. The police's response isn't recorded. I was trying to find it in this review here. Actually, there's a review in this bit from Scotland on Sunday, which I bought for the first time today, which is actually rather good.
A review of what?
A review of radio.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What does it say?
I can't tell you on the air.
Oh, right. Well,
That good, eh?
oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, so what else have you been doing this week?
Well, I was very pleased to see that baby Abby had been found safe and well. Terrific news, eh?
Oh, it's brilliant. So I had absolutely no idea. And my sister came down yesterday to London from Birmingham. I picked her up from the station, and she said, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, she said, they found the baby, which is such good news. I got all a bit tearful. I was really happy.
It was like baby Dawn Griffiths all over again, wasn't it? When she was taken from the hospital in London 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I still dine out on the story that I was the first newsreader to bring that to the nation's attention.
Were you?
It
I didn't know that, Ian.
It happened about 3 in the morning. Well, it brought it to London's attention because I was London's top newsreader.
Of course you were. Sorry, we do keep forgetting that, don't we?
I've not mentioned it for at least a week.
Somebody was talking to me last night about Derek Hobson.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice bloke.
And apparently, does he live in our area?
No, he doesn't. He lives in London.
Right.
So he lives in your area.
Apparently, you're not really supposed to mention that's my dog.
Really?
in front of him. He doesn't like it.
He did several series of it.
I rather
He took
liked
the
it.
TSW shilling, did he not?
He did, but you're not really supposed to mention it in front of him.
No.
So
Well, I
That
mentioned
was
just
a great programme.
when I met him, I mentioned just about everything else in his canon. I said, "Hello, I remember you from ATV today," and he muttered something vaguely Celtic,
Really?
vaguely rude, and said, "Hey, wow." And then I mentioned lots and lots of stuff about Ballymena, which is a slightly obscure town in Northern Ireland where he comes from, but where my family live as well. So I was able to ingratiate myself with him in that sense as well.
So now you're
That's
top
nice.
chums.
Yeah, and he's a cultural icon of, he's up there with Fred Dinage.
Yes, of course.
Right, said Fred Dinage.
They should change their name to that, shouldn't they?
I should do, yeah. And I
but-
had a haircut, so I've been called Right Said Fred as well.
Yes, you have had a very short haircut, and I have to say, it really suits you.
Thank you very much.
It looks really, really good. And I suggest you have your hair number one regularly.
It's had a decidedly mixed reaction. Some people have said I look gay, which I don't mind at all, but no one said I look camp,
Well,
against which I object vehemently.
I think it suits you.
Thank you.
I think it looks very, very good. And
My girlfriend thinks it makes me look like the Barclays baby. You've seen those posters advertising Barclays Bank with little baby on it.
Yeah.
Looking very quizzically at a camera, and the legend reads, think about a pension before he's bald and wrinkly.
other banks and
Oh,
things
they're
and
also
pensions
available,
and stuff
yeah.
are also available, of course.
And other forms of haircut.
And other forms of haircuts as well. What else have you done this
Just
week?
briefly going back to the Abbey story, it's one of those stories where sort of everyone in the street talks about. And if it was anything like when I was at this radio station, probably when the news came through on the wires, as we say, a great cheer would have gone up.
Yeah.
And the paper torn from the teleprinter and immediately thrust into the hands of the nearest presenter. But I was slightly taken by the slight lack of imagination.
In the headlines.
In the headlines,
tabloids.
in the tabloids, from the Irish Sunday World, pure Abbey-ness. From the Mirror, many Abbey returns. From the People, Abbey ending. And I think the News of the World had something similar
Yeah,
as well.
it did. I can't quite
Sort
remember
of
what
Abbey
it was.
National or something.
Other building sites are available. Yes, it is wonderful, wonderful news. Anything else out? You came to visit me, didn't you?
I came to visit you on my way to a wedding.
At the end of a bad day.
At the end of a bad day for
We
you.
know a song about that, don't we, by Carmel?
We do, yeah.
Oh,
We know
you-
a sticky sweet about that, don't we?
Almost.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Yes, and you came to visit. It was really nice, because I'd kind of forgotten Ian was coming down to London this weekend, and he phoned me up and he said, I'm at Euston, can I come and say, hola? So he came round, and I ignored him because he was watching the programme Junctions, and I was talking to my agent, so there we are.
But I got a cup of coffee out of it.
Yeah,
and,
that's-
and a bag of golden delicious apples, for which my thanks.
You're welcome.
I regard it as payment for my royal visit.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Did you enjoy them?
I did, thank you.
Did you
I
get
enjoyed
it?
one of them. The other two are in Richmond in Surrey now, which is where I was holed up for my short stay in London. Very nice
right.
part of the
How
world.
was the wedding?
Oh, it was very nice, thank you. It was
I
mu-
like
my,
a nice wedding.
my
Yes.
first ever Muslim wedding. The ceremony is very short, unlike the Catholic version, which is the extended Ben Lee Brand 12-inch version,
Yes.
including extra long sermon and
Yes.
ceremony as well. So you get your bride and your groom, and they sit on opposite chairs, and in the middle is the master of ceremonies, who needn't necessarily be a priest or an imam. It's just someone who knows the appropriate verses of the Quran. It was all conducted in English, apart from certain key verses which were conducted in Arabic. I was surrounded by all these nice Muslims.
Was it good? Did you enjoy yourself?
I did, yes, and then afterwards we had a party. A
Marvellous.
sober party, I might add, but a party nonetheless.
Your parties are always sober, Ian, because you don't drink, of course.
And neither did anyone else, so I wasn't able to trade on that novelty, as you can imagine.
Oh,
but it
right.
was everyone seemed to have a good time. We got complaints from Heathrow Airport saying we were drowning out the noise of their planes taking off. And then last night there was the official reception.
Oh.
Slight imbalance in terms of the respective relatives who turned up. The groom is a Muslim convert, he's English, and about a score of his family were there. And the bride, who's Muslim born, about 200 of her relatives.
Really?
So it was quite easy to see who was with whom.
Yes, I can imagine.
That was enjoyable as well, and I was called upon as I ended up being a sort of best man by default, really, because the groom had such a low-key part in the whole thing that he didn't really have a best man as such. So I was sort of roped in. I only met him yesterday for the first Friday for the first time. So at the end of the whole thing, I was called upon to deliver a speech in much the same way as I did at your wedding.
Oh, right. Was it as good as it was at my wedding?
I think so. We've got a small but appreciative audience, I like to think.
Oh, good. You are becoming a professional best man.
Yes, I want to start charging for this.
Yes, you should do,
I'm
actually.
just thinking how much Bob Monkhouse gets for one of his after-dinner speeches.
Yeah. Get yourself a good agent.
Yeah. I think so. And a nice photogenic mole as well.
Yes, absolutely.
That's,
I love
that's the key to
Monkhouse.
show business success, isn't it?
A mole, that's right.
An interesting deformation.
I've got a couple of moles, but they're not in places that I'd want people to see necessarily.
Well, I know you quite well, Samantha, but even I didn't know that.
They're not big. They're only tiny little baby ones, look a bit like freckles, but I've got one on my stomach.
Right.
I'm actually quite moly, but luckily none on my face.
Yeah, don't go out in the sun.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay, fine.
Cover up, loads and loads and loads and loads of cover up. Stuart's still wearing that silly hat, look. Tour de France last week, his head's been turned by it. Oh dear. Is that your week then, Ian?
Yes.
Good.
Sounds like one of my years, actually.
Lisa, what kind of week have you had? Nice Alice band, by the way.
Oh, cheers, thanks. My hair was a bit of a mess. I thought, scrape it back with the old Alice band. Matches the T-shirt a bit, though.
It does,
Ish.
golly.
Kind
how
of tones.
coordinated. I hate ginger people that wear green the whole time. Sorry.
I'm wearing green tonight.
Sorry.
Thank you. Didn't do a lot, actually.
Small question. What objection do you have between ginger people and green?
It's so obvious.
Because a lot of red-headed people are dressed in green as children and
Really?
grow up believing that green really suits them. Well, it does. Green suits people with red hair. And they tend to stick to the safe colours.
Anyway.
That's it. That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
Woke up one morning this week and discovered I've become Australian.
have you?
Yeah, I didn't apply or anything, but I realised that I've been to 5 barbecues in 4 weeks, and I think that automatically makes you Australian.
Wow.
I should be waxing my surfboard as soon as I get home.
Well, I actually went to my
Because
first...
there's nothing worse than a hairy surfboard.
Absolutely not.
I went to my first barbecue of the summer last week, actually.
Oh, really?
Nice larks we had.
Jolly good. And have I led a very sheltered life, or has anybody else not heard of this product? It's, I can't remember what make it is, but it actually says on the label, it's a bottle, it's a squidgy bottle, it says smoke-flavoured tomato sauce. Not barbecue flavour, not interesting aromatic flavour, smoke flavour.
Ick.
No, I've not heard of it either, but then I've led a sheltered life, so I'm no judge.
That's true.
I lead a glamorous life, and I've never heard of it either.
It's not just me then, thank goodness for that.
No, it's not just you.
A bit of a disappointment yesterday because I watched a bit of the Stars in Their Eyes final.
Who won?
Exactly. I don't know. I missed the end of it.
Well, if you know who won the Stars in Their Eyes final, give me a call, and I shall spread the joy
won't
to
bother
Liza
passing it on,
and
thank you.
Ian. Thank you.
And I had a facial this week.
Did you? They're nice,
Yes.
aren't they? You get some nice girl in an
First
overall doing
time
your
ever.
blackheads for you.
It was wonderful. Haven't washed my face since, as you can probably tell. No, it was very nice, very relaxing.
Yeah.
I'd recommend it to anybody. Ian, fancy a facial?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I've had a facial, and they're quite exciting.
And
I didn't
not
have it on
they?
my face, though, so it was even more nice.
But for some reason, when they've sort of painted all the gunk on you and they've done all sort of the massage and stuff, and they leave you for however long they leave you for with your pads over your eyes, you wake up and you think you're going to look fabulous because your skin feels so nice.
But you don't, because you got no makeup on.
Well, exactly,
And your
yeah.
face is all
I
a bit
woke up and
red.
thought, I'm going to be Cindy Crawford. I'm going to look in the mirror and I'll be Cindy Crawford. Sadly, I was Liza Wallace with no makeup.
Michael Crawford.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, Lisa, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You know in the opening titles to ITV's World Cup coverage and all those kids with the painted faces?
Don't watch it.
Maybe they've had facials, but none of the gunk has been scraped off.
Yes. They didn't pay enough money to have it taken off again.
Yes, that's right. Well, I've had a fairly awful week in one way or another. However, the awfulness of my week paled into significance with the dreadful, dreadful, dreadful experience I had on Saturday night.
Do you want to tell us? Do you want to share it with us, Samantha?
I don't know if I can. Now, the reason I didn't
We're
watch...
all here. We'll hold your hand. We'll support you.
I don't know if I can tell you. Maybe I can. The reason I didn't watch the Stars in Their Eyes final is because I don't watch ITV, and I was watching the other side. I saw a programme called Pets Mean Prizes, Pets Win Prizes. It's the worst It was, in my opinion, the worst television I have ever seen in my entire
Is this the new
life.
Lord Danny of Baker programme?
Yes, and I like Danny Baker a lot. However, the programme was abysmal, and in every link that Danny Baker did during the programme, he made a little joke about how not very good the programme was.
Really?
Yes. And also, I mean, I do not...
Worth transmitting then, I'd have thought.
Yes, I do not at all strongly oppose performing animals.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's a vet there.
Sausages.
Yeah, exactly.
I found a talent!
Yeah!
What the hell was that?
You can do an impression of a dog saying sausages. Phone That's Life. Oh no, it's not on anymore. Phone Watchdog. Get this woman out of my studio. Anyway, so this programme, and I really strongly object, as I said, to performing animals. I don't think animals should be exploited in that way. Perfectly happy to eat them and wear them. Don't want to see them be exploited on television. It's just it's a hang-up I've got.
That's fair.
Anyway, so this, you know, it's all very good, and Danny Baker saying it's all very good, the animals are all really happy, and the animals are all doing what comes naturally, blah, blah, blah. There is a vet in the studio. There is Terry Nutkins in the studio. There are tortoises and stick insects in the studio. There are dogs in the studio.
Do they keep them apart?
They didn't keep them that far apart, but the worst thing was that at the end of the programme there was a cat in the studio that didn't look terribly happy, and some of the dogs didn't look terribly happy either, and it was just absolutely, it wasn't even, you know how sometimes programmes can be so bad
That it's funny.
or it's worth watching.
A bit like That's My Dog.
A bit like That's My
'Cause
Dog.
that was fabulous.
Top kitsch value type of programme that I enjoyed. I spent many a happy half an hour watching That's My Dog.
Or Who's Baby?
Or Who's Baby, another good one. And top entertainment in the afternoon if you haven't got anything better to do, which I generally haven't.
Me neither.
And it's even worse than that. And I suggest if you
dear.
can, you should maybe try and watch the first 5 minutes of it. Absolutely awful. Awful. And that was my week, really. I mean,
Topped off a really great week for you.
absolutely, I know. But the thing...
Sorry, just to interrupt. Have we given out the winners to last week's competition yet?
Yes, we have.
Right. And the question was?
The answer was sporran.
Right, the hairy bit of the kilt.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking last week about how Scottish people just talk to you for no reason.
Yeah.
It happened on the train into Birmingham today when this bekilted Scotsman got on at Birmingham International. He was from Dundee, and before I got off, I found out that he was a salesman working with Amex.
Yeah.
And get this, he kept things in his sporran.
What did he keep there?
Music came from around his sporran area. It was one of the most bizarre experiences I've ever experienced, I suppose.
What was he doing in his kilt?
I don't know. I did ask him, excuse me, why are you in full dress? And he said, Army conference. I said, Army conferences? No, Amway.
Right.
So that's what he was doing.
Oh, well, there we are then.
I thought of a great new TV programme.
What?
Lloyd Grossman can present it.
Yeah.
It's going to be called That's My Sporran, and you have to guess whose sporran it is by the contents.
Yeah, brilliant. That's
Great idea.
Great idea for a
I
programme.
just think that this bloke from Dundee could have gone into cabaret. Duncan McTavish and his musical sporran.
What kind of music was emanating from...
Well, it was Scottish music.
Was it?
Yeah, the whole Andy Stewart bagpipes and accordions type
Well,
thing.
you know how you can get musical cards?
Yeah.
You open the card and it goes... really irritatingly.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's like
You end up
musical
throwing out the
sporran.
window.
Yeah, and you open your sporran and it goes... Maybe that's what happens.
I think they sell that sort of thing to tourists.
Really?
Yes, they convince all these camera-wielding Japanese tourists that it's part of the genuine Scottish cultural experience as they go away with their stuffed Nessie
Wow.
and their souvenir haggis.
Anyway, back to Pets Win Prizes.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say that it's very rarely that a TV show makes me angry because it's so bad. But that programme made me feel very, very angry indeed. I suggest you catch 5 minutes of it next Saturday. Anyway, now it's time for a nice record. And this is Afternoons and Coffee Spoons from the Crash Test Dummies. Afternoons and Coffee Spoons from the Crash Test Dummies. And I think Paul actually read out a lyric from that last week, didn't he? Saying how dreadful it was. I don't know.
Did he? I don't know. I
Or
never
somebody
listened
did
to what
to
Paul
me
said.
recently. Anyway, for those of you that lost your power earlier, Gail Wesley from the MEB press office has told us that the power in the Bromford and Erdington areas has been restored. Huzzah! It was due to an underground cable fault which left people without power for 20 minutes.
And us for a couple of milliseconds during between 8 and 9, which we suspect is why Stoke were off the air for the first 20-odd minutes of this
Could
programme.
well have been.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jason Hood in Brownhill says, do you know the Bare Naked Ladies are on tour? No, I didn't. I should be rushing to go and see the Nakes. They're playing in Wolverhampton on August the 12th. I tell you, if you go and see the Bare Naked Ladies on August the 12th in Wolverhampton, you will have the night of your lives. They are brilliant live. And for Ian and Liza, Marty Pello won Stars in Their Eyes last night. Which was,
really?
It was the hot favourite, apparently, and Ian said he was very good shooting.
Yes, I saw him in the heat. He
I
was
saw
good.
him in the heat as well, yeah, he was
David
top.
Davis in Streetley says, to all those videoing the football, the score is...
Ah, no, don't want to know. I've turned off their microphones now.
The score is...
Now, how are we going to play this, Samantha? Am I going to keep on fading out your microphone as your...
I haven't got it. I haven't got the
Oh,
score.
right.
It's ... is what he said. I won't give the score out. just
I'm
in
not
case.
quite as shy as Paul is when it comes to cutting you off and you're about to do something damaging to us all.
I'm not doing anything damaging to anybody. Anyway, if you'd like to enter the competition or if you'd like to phone in with a dedication, then please do. The competition question is, who had a hit with electricity? Who had a hit with electricity? We also had a hit with Enola Gay and messages as well. What else do they have a hit with?
Oh,
Joan of Arc, that was another one of their hits. Anyway, if you'd like to, if you know the answer, you'd like to give us a call, or if you'd like to phone in with a dedication or a joke, the number to call is 021
if you're outside Birmingham, 432
2000.
I've got the choir with that number if you want it.
No, it's all right. Ian, fire your jingle.
Right.
Half Northern, half Irish, half Brummie. All man.
Diddly, 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 diddly. Yeah.
Ian Wood.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, what can I tell you? I can tell you that one of the headlines from the Irish Sunday World this week is from, well, reputed to come from Diana, Queen Diana of the Press Corps. And she's reputed as saying, I hate sex. In fact, she hates any kind of bag. Oh, the old Jess McCarrett joke, isn't it? Also from the Irish Sunday World, Kevin Costner's burned his bum.
I know, on a sunbed, poor man.
dear.
He went for a session on a tanning machine without his wife, Francis says here.
I just see Kevin Costner in Y-fronts.
Well, I can, oddly enough. It doesn't require a great leap of the imagination. He got such a nasty burn he couldn't sit for 3 days.
We could do
Kevin,
what for 3 days?
sit. Although I admit it probably sounds different on medium wave, especially after our power cut. He got such a... Kevin...
Comma.
Kevin, comma, bad haircut, comma, was trying to look good in his trunks for the upcoming movie Waterworld. The actor's also feeling miserable over the fact that his latest release, Wyatt Earp, is a box office disappointment. He'd filmed 6 hours of footage for a winter sequel, but after the way the critics took the movie to pieces, there'll be no part 2.
Oh, dear.
And, except in trying to render part 2 in Roman numerals, the Sunday World have written part 11. More from the Sunday World. Well, an early visit to the slightly dangerous world of Daniel O'Donnell.
Was it postmodern irony or a mistake?
A mistake, I suspect.
Oh, dear.
It's one of those moments I wish I'd witnessed firsthand. This is all reported in the radio column of Scotland on Sunday, which I bought today. It's actually a rather good paper. Lots of stories from there. It says the Ken Garner, their radio reviewer, the excitement was almost detectable as Mark introduced Colin and McConey's reports. as if on cue, the girls in the audience screamed both at the same time.
Oh, dear.
Back in the Sunday World, they show a photograph of a leading member of the popular beat combo Primal Scream holding some daffodils. The caption underneath this photograph reads, Daffy Time for Primal Scream's Tom Sheehan. It may well be, but why have they put that caption underneath a photograph of Bobby Gillespie? Jupiter.
Don't. That's what's been causing the power cuts, in my opinion. Don't. I'm freaked out by Jupiter. Ugh.
Yes, you and Sister Marie are freaked out. Sister Marie Gabriel, comma, 53.
Comma.
Comma. She, if you remember, she put in these rather balmy adverts in The Guardian.
Yes, yes.
I think it was
do
just The
remember.
Guardian. She might have attacked one or two of the other broadsheet papers, telling us all to mend our ways or be hit by fragments of the comet and life, as we know it, Jim, being extinguished.
Oh dear.
Well, we've got a week to sweat because that's how long this string of comets is going to be hitting the surface of Jupiter. The big one has yet to hit.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will be an observable phenomenon. So we've got a few
we'll
days
be able to watch it.
Don't know. Depends on prevailing weather conditions.
Yeah.
Clouds came over at an inopportune moment last night, according to Patrick Moore, who's been appearing on every conceivable radio and
We
television
saw him
programme
with
known to man.
grass on the back of his jacket.
Did you?
didn't we? No, we did. Don't you remember? We
Did
were
we?
we were watching him on After 5, and with that nice Fern Britain, he got all that stuff on the back
Yeah.
of his jacket.
No, I missed that.
You did. You said, "What's that on the back of his jacket?" You said when
Did
we
I?
were watching it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The humidity is
dear.
obviously playing tricks with my memory. Anyway, Sister Mary Gabriel, she put in this advert, as I was saying. You know something's not quite right when it's all set in very small writing, but it's all in capitals.
I've had mail like that.
In crayon.
In green biro.
Yes.
We know the sort of thing. Well, I suspect this is the newspaper equivalent of that. Well, it's all explained in The People this week for people who aren't quite up to speed on this story. The Nun, from Cricklewood in North London, spent a fortune on doom-laden newspaper ads, but the comet's initial impact was so small even scientists couldn't see it. However, the largest piece will hit on July the 20th, so watch this space.
When's July the 20th?
Today is the 17th.
Right, so that makes it Wednesday.
Hey, it's
then.
Dad's birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. He's 37 today.
Is he your dad?
No. Yeah.
Happy birthday to
Dazza.
Ian's dad.
Yeah. Which would have made him 6 when I was born.
Do you think he's telling porkies?
Yeah, it was 7 when I was born.
Oh.
So, July the 20th is, hang on.
Wednesday. I've just
Wednesday.
worked that out.
Right.
Go on,
So-
carry on.
Well, that's okay because Wednesday's early closing anyway in Birmingham.
Right.
So, so to politics and Nelson's column in The People is talking about Ian Paisley. Ian Paisley is famous for many things. He's famous for not knowing whether to call himself Reverend or Doctor. He has both honours to his credit.
Oh,
He's
wow.
also known for not being terribly fond of the demon drink.
Yes, isn't he? Right.
He calls it, he refers to it in the lyrical way that he does, the devil's buttermilk.
Ah.
Just to give you a brief, just to set his beliefs into some sort of context, he won't talk to journalists like Nigel Nelson because we publish on the Sabbath.
Ah.
So he does take the Bible at its word.
Right.
So if it says printed in Huddersfield, he believes it's printed in Huddersfield. He enjoyed the story that he was told at the Commons retirement lunch for a press association political editor. And Ian Paisley sniffed on the breath of this political editor, drink, and said so. Drink? To which the reply was, no thanks, I've just had one. Heavy karma in the Vanden Howe household.
Oh, really?
Oh, I've been reading about this.
I haven't. What's been happening?
Well, I heard a brilliant summary of the whole Wyman Smith Vanden Howe story so far. At the age of 11, Mandy meets up with a man who's just about to pick up his bus pass, as well as playing bass for the Rolling Stones. How he wasn't arrested, no one knows, but they get married after a five-year courtship. They sleep together only 5 times during a very brief marriage. She sues him, wins a lot of money. Meanwhile, her mum goes out with his son. And by the time they've worked out the guest list with designations saying brother-in-law, aunties, uncles, they work out that out of about 200 designations, it only works out to about 7 people. Mother and his son break up. Then her daughter and someone who's old enough to be her father break up as well. So she goes off and hitches up with a footballer who's in the twilight of his years, a footballer who's not known for his diplomatic skills. And would you believe 18 months later their marriage appears to be in some difficulty?
Oh, is it? I didn't. Well, I missed this. What was this in?
Mandy Smith's marriage to footballer Pat Vanden Howe is back on course after some well-publicised difficulties during the course of this week.
Oh,
Now,
right.
Mandy Smith has been out and about publicising her book. And she was interviewed by my other half during the course of the week. And my other half thinks that Mandy Smith isn't a bimbo necessarily, but is not at the same time necessarily creaking under the weight of her own intellect.
I have to say that I've read a lot of interviews with her this week, and they've all said what a nice, nice girl she is.
Yes.
They've all expected to meet a bimbo, and she's actually a very nice person.
The only time I ever saw her interviewed on the TV, I was quite... it sounds terrible. I was quite surprised by how unbimbo-ish she was.
Yeah. Anyway, do carry on, Ian.
Well, according to the Sunday World, she's going to do her level best to patch things up with Pat Vandenhouw, a man whose future is a tad uncertain.
Right.
Unless he's going to go out and run a pub in the way that footballers often do. Allegedly, it's his jealousy which has been causing problems between the two of them.
Oh, right.
And he's also rather jealous of the attention that she's been getting. Rather surprised. I mean, he plays for Millwall. I mean, you don't go and play for Millwall if you want the paparazzi on your doorstep, do you? She says, I just need a bit of space, time to think and get my head straight. People have been calling me all day, and I just want to be left alone. And as we all know, there's nothing worse than a bent head, is there?
No, there isn't. What was that from?
That was from the Sunday World.
Oh, right.
World Cup time.
Yes.
I'm afraid so. In the Sunday Times, they've been giving us a brief guide to the World Cup, and more particularly to footballers who cry.
Oh, right.
A phenomenon introduced to us all infamously by Gaza 4 years ago, and this is a long and honourable tradition which has been perpetuated by footballers of Latin extraction, shall we say. An imagined commentary from John Motson on this phenomenon goes thus. Well, Des, the eyes were all dry until well into the second half, but with only 13 minutes to the final whistle, we've now got a real flood on our hands. The Italian midfield have got their hankies out, and we've not seen sobbing of this quality since the World Cup semi-final in 1990.
That wasn't John Motson. That was Steve Coogan doing Barry Norman.
Bears an uncanny resemblance to John Motson, but I think of myself as Les Dennis in the Impressionist department.
Oh, right.
Ian Wood, the voice of them both. A collection of some of the best and worst moments from the World Cup have been collected. The collection has been collected, well, you know what I mean, by Scotland on Sunday. Worst goal obviously goes to Pat Bonner's little blunder.
What did he do?
He had the ball in his grasp and let it slip. And Ireland went down 2-0 to Holland.
Oh, dear.
But quoted the tournament, that honour goes to Jimmy Hill, who said, Big Jack will be back doing the business, hopefully with a younger man under him. And the worst game went to Bolivia 0, South Korea 0. A dull game, enlivened only by pundit Don Howe's reaction afterwards. To him was put the question, well, what did you think about the missus? Don replied, as far as I know, she's fine. Just very quickly, one more quote, a deliberate witty flourish from pundit Dennis Law. He was asked the question, what would you say to the team now if you were the Colombian boss? And he would say, well, the first thing I'd say was, I'm awfully sorry, boys, I don't speak Spanish. That's it, more later.
Now it's time to go.
Hang on. Hang on.
Now it's ready to rattle some cars.
Yes, absolutely. Now it's time. We've had problems this evening. Now it's time for AA Roadwatch.
BBC Radio Travel.
Thank you. Looking at the motorways, no major problems on the West Midlands motorways. Just a reminder, of course, the M1 is closed in Leicestershire between junctions 21 and 22. There's a turnings for the M69 and the A50. It's closed for bridge demolition work over the weekend. Should reopen tomorrow at about 5 a.m. in the morning. Diversions until then via the A563 and the A50 in traffic at the moment. Not looking too bad in the area. In Handsworth in Birmingham, traffic lights are out at the junction of Grove Lane and Soho Road. Also, the city engineers are on the way to repair those. Stonebridge, the A45 winding work continues on the Coventry Road between the M42 at junction 6 and the A452 Island. And watch out for lane closures at peak times there. Paul Marriott, AA Roadwatch.
All the way from the Royal London Borough of Pansy and Girls Blouse. Samantha Meah.
That's Dusty and the Pets and what have I done to deserve this? Welcome back to the second half of Samantha's Sunday Night Party. Bit of luck, it might be a little bit smoother than the first half. My little whinge about my lack of post a couple of weeks ago seems to have struck a few chords, and I've been positively inundated, not only with letters, but with Pusscat treats. Look for Pusscats, Fox's Glacier Mints, and little things. You don't have to send me stuff. Letters are enough, you know. Anyway, I'll read a couple of them out now and a few of them later. Dear Sam, Mike, Paul, Lisa and Ian, on last week's show you said your mum and Auntie Joy came to visit and your poor bodies were forced to sleep on the floor, and so I sent you a house buyer's guide. Give it to your mum and tell her to buy a house near to you so she doesn't have to stop the night and you don't have to sleep on the floor.
Top idea.
That's very good, yes. I also sent you a picture of Niall Quinn for no reason at all. I also sent for Sam, that's me, a Simpsons quiz. It's trash, but never mind. And last but not least, I sent you some Blue Peter Eye Carer stickers, 2 for Ian. Lots of love from Lee.
Sorry, he sent me what?
She sent you some Blue Peter Eye Carer stickers.
What's Eye Carer stickers?
I don't know.
Is it anything like IKEA?
I don't think
He sent me some furniture.
They're here. They're like little Blue Peter things. It's like little
Is that
Blue
from
Peter
their last
shit.
campaign?
I think so. And it's
Sorry, I referred to you as he earlier, Lee.
no, yeah, I think it's a Liza lady. It says, I'm a Blue Peter eye carer, and it's got a little picture of the Blue Peter ship. So if Ian, like me, you never won a Blue Peter badge as a child and feel inadequate, you can have one of these nice stickers.
What you could actually
Cool, thank
do
you.
is buy one of those button kit, one of those badge kits, cut the little blue ship out, make it into a badge, and then pretend it's a real Blue Peter badge.
I think that's probably heresy of some
Do you think so?
description. I think so. Yeah, I think you probably get thrown in prison for even suggesting that.
That's right, because you'd be getting into museums free under false pretences.
Yeah, that's right. And also, the Blue Peter badges aren't round. They're shaped like
Shield-shaped.
Shield-shaped. That's right.
My plan falls apart.
And please, can you send me some autographed photos of Sam, Mike, Paul, Lisa and Ian? We can have one of me, but nobody else is important enough to have photos. And I will understand if this is not possible. Can you send me a goodie bag, please? No! You've got to win one! And she thinks Paul's got a sexy voice, so she's...
The photos are very nice, though. And they also reveal what Samantha looked like in 1989.
Yeah, I know, they're really old. Really, really old photos. And we've also had a letter from Philip Antcliffe, who says, Dear Sam, Mike, Ian, Lisa and Paul. Hello, I'm just writing to say that your show on Sundays is absolutely brilliant. And although I've only been listening to it for a few months, I'm addicted to it. And I get very upset if I miss it. Well, don't miss it. Chain yourself to a radio on Sunday nights, for heaven's sake. Philip. I'm a student at Warwick University. My husband went there, you know, but I live in Lichfield, so I can listen to your show all the time. Please could you do me a favour by answering the following questions?
You can hear us in Coventry.
And you can hear us in Coventry, by the way. 1. I know that you're all mega celebs, but what exactly do you do the other 6 days of the week when you're not on the radio? Ian, what do you do?
I work as a freelance based in Pebble Mill. I work for Radio WM and Radio 5 and Radio Stoke doing bits and bobs. Sometimes they're technical and sometimes I do what are called pre-recorded packages, which are usually stories about talented animals.
Please, what do you do?
I've got a paper round.
And I just sort of sit around being glamorous,
You
really.
do, don't you?
And I have, in my kitchen, under the sink, there lives a Chippendale called Johnny.
Really?
Yeah. And he comes out, and when I'm watching daytime TV, he comes out and he feeds me Turkish Delight with a little tiny special Turkish Delight fork.
When you go away on holiday, can I house sit, please?
No.
Hmm.
No, you can't, because he comes with me. And second question, do you have an embarrassing Norwegian surname now that you're married to Mike? If so, what is it? No, I have a not embarrassing Bangladeshi surname, which is Meah, because I didn't change my name. 3, are you going to play Kylie's new single when it's released? Am I? Is the Pope Catholic? Of course I am. And apparently I know somebody who's heard it, and Kylie's new album is really brilliant. Really, really
Bless
brilliant, apparently. And he says, have you seen Grease the musical in London yet? I saw it the other week and it was very good, especially Sonia. Sonia!
I've seen it, but it was Debbie Gibson when I saw it.
All right, especially Sonia and Sandy. No, the words "I'd rather die" spring to mind. And please can I have a picture? Of course you can. As an incentive to answer the above, jokes. I thought I'd send you some jokes to tickle your funny bones. The first one has a swear word in it. I know it's not big and it's not clever, but it's essential for the success of the joke. And so I'm not going to read it out to you because it's got a very serious swear word in it that I couldn't even read, let alone say. But his second joke's okay. A tortoise was mugged while he was taking a walk, and he was mugged by 2 snails. But when the police asked him to tell them what happened, he said he couldn't because it all happened so quickly.
Ba-bum.
And he wants the Zill to win the World Cup. That's from Philip Ancliffe. I'm living in Coundon, Coventry next year. Is this anywhere near where Paul resides? So
Sorry,
Otto...
Coundon.
Coundon, I'm sorry. I was embarrassing. Oh, I'm sorry. It's so embarrassing when you pronounce
It'd be
place.
worse in Scotland. Ooh, if they ever send you to Glasgow.
No,
Do you know, there's a place called Wemyss Bay, right?
Yeah.
And it's on the end of a railway line. It's quite a famous resort up there. Wemyss is spelled W-E-M-Y-S-S.
really?
But it's nowhere near Gaukthrappel.
Oh, good.
We like that place, don't we?
Coundon.
Camden.
Camden. Camden. I'm sorry. We know Paul about that, don't we? Camden. You're living in Camden in Coventry. Is that anywhere near where Paul lives? I don't know.
No, Coventry is just one big village. Everyone knows everyone else.
Well, we don't know because Paul won't tell us where he lives, so we can't go and visit.
No, 'cause he hates us. But apparently Otto, I'm sure Otto can come and visit. Thank you very much for that letter. And we've just very, very quickly, actually, where's this letter gone? Oh, yes, I've had a letter from Tutankhamun, or Tutankhamun, depending on how you'd like to pronounce it. Thank you. From the Valley of the Kings, of course, in Egypt. And he says, Dear Samantha, I used to listen to your show about 4 or 5 years ago, but since then I've been unable to pick up your signal. I finally rediscovered your show the week before last, and I'm pleased to say it's as good, if not better, than before. Perhaps the reason you don't receive any mail is because Paul reads the address out in about 1 second flat. I had to tape your programme last week so that I could replay the address to write to. That's from, as I said, from Tutankhamun. So the address is, Ian?
Samantha's Sunday night party. BBC Radio in the Midlands, P.O. Box 206, Pebble Mill, Birmingham B5 7SD.
And what don't you need?
You don't need no education.
And what was I going to say? Yes, couldn't our address still be found under the Radio WM listing in your copy of the Radio Times?
Yes.
Other listings magazines are also available, but they're not as good.
Right.
Yeah, so if you missed it, you can always find it under your Radio WM listing. You can just send it to BBC Pebble Mill, Birmingham, and it'll get to me as well, as long as you put my name on it.
It'll annoy the post office, but
it'll annoy the post office, and they'll put
They know where you
sticker on
are.
it saying, use your postcode, you idiots. Only the idiot bit's implied. They don't actually stick that bit on the letter, of course. Anyway, if you'd like to enter our competition and win yourself a goodie bag, which is always terribly exciting, then you can do.
The exciting thing is if you're going to get it or not.
Exactly. The question is... Oh, I've forgotten. The question is, yes, who had a hit with the song called Electricity? They also had a hit with the song called Enola Gay and a song called... What else do they have?
Who's played by James Garner, an ageing lawman whose mission seems to be, well, just to annoy young Brett Maverick. Or Bert, as everybody insists on calling him, which annoys him intensely. He keeps saying, it's Bart! Sorry, no, he keeps saying, it's Brett, and they keep saying, calling him Bert or Bart or whatever. That didn't go very well, did it?
No.
So it's got some nice moments in it, particularly the world-weary Indian chief who's realised that he can make a fast buck playing the brave savage and saying how a lot to tourists.
Yeah.
He's making an awful lot of money out of it. It's a bit reminiscent of the, I don't know if you saw the Blackadder scene where he goes to meet the wise old woman up on the hills and he said, don't talk like that to me, I'm not a tourist. You've got this Indian who can speak perfect English who has to go around saying how how, because it makes him more money. There's a great twist.
Native American, by the way.
Sorry, a Native American. I didn't say Red Indian, though.
No, you didn't.
Native American Indian. It's a good twist at the end. Well, I thought it was good. I didn't see it coming at all, and if you see it coming, then you're a better man than I.
They're bound to be, 'cause you're a girl.
Well, exactly, yes. No, I don't think you could see... I mean, there are several twists in it, some of which, I thought, well, if that's the twist of the movie, that is not a good twist, because I saw that coming a mile off. However, the real twist, you won't see coming. Some nice scenery in it. Lots of stars. James Coburn's in there as well, and lots of other people dotted around. It's a tad too long. It's about 2 hours, and it is a little bit too long, I think.
It feel like 2 hours.
It does feel like 2 hours, yeah. Mainly because of the fact that I kept thinking it would finish, and there was like another sort of half an hour to go. There's yet another twist coming up. However, very good. It's quite funny in parts.
Has Jodie Foster liked comedy? Because apparently it was a huge shock when she was cast.
Oh, really? Oh, she's very good.
The role was originally written, or the role was originally earmarked for Michelle Pfeiffer, I think.
I can see Jodie Foster more than Michelle Pfeiffer in it.
Really?
Definitely, yes. I think so.
Wow.
Because she needs to be sort of a slightly harder character than I think I would expect Michelle Pfeiffer to play.
Yeah.
Bit of rumpy-pumpy in it.
A little bit?
Yes.
Oh,
Not telling you between who, but it doesn't take a great genius to work it out. And I'm giving it 7 out of 10.
Well, I have to say, you were more enthusiastic about it when I spoke to you on the phone yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, perhaps the 24 hours in between has mellowed my opinion.
Because, because I've read some kind of quite good reviews of it, but I've read some lousy reviews of the Flintstones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really bad.
Oh,
But so we were talking about this last night, and we were saying that what they should do is make, because you know how Hollywood is following the success of The Fugitive, I think, rehashing 60s TV.
Yes, Beverly Hillbillies was out this week as well,
apparently.
which I did not fancy one iota.
Absolutely abysmal, apparently. I haven't seen it, so I can't say, and I shan't be going to see it either. What was I saying?
You were saying about the Flintstones
and
Hollywood's obsession with recreating TV shows.
Yes, and they're talking about doing Tom and Jerry as well, aren't they?
Not with live cats and mice.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think a Tom and Jerry movie, animated movie. However, what they really, really should do, I reckon, is do Top Cat the movie.
Oh yes,
Wouldn't that be brilliant?
Oh yeah.
But what we couldn't remember, we know there was Benny
Uh-huh.
in Top Cat. Then there was Top Cat in Top Cat. What were the other cats called?
Oh,
What were the other cats?
Choo Choo.
Choo Choo.
Yeah.
What's the?
There was an obscure one called Fancy, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fancy. Fancy.
that the
was
It
Wizard
sounded
Shades?
like Cary Grant, I think.
Yeah, Fancy was the one who was very successful with the chicks, or with the kittens, I guess. Oh right, Fancy, that's what he was called. And then Choo Choo was like the beatnik, wasn't he, in the polo neck with the long neck.
Sade's jumper.
Yeah, Sade's jumper. Wouldn't that be good? And Jack Nicholson playing Officer Dibble.
very good. Am I
Nicholson.
stating the complete and utter obvious when I say, does everybody know that was based on Phil Silver's Sergeant Bilko?
On Bilko, yeah, but I didn't know for a long time. I think when everyone else knew, I didn't know, because I hate Bilko, but I love Top Cat. So I can't really see the
Great
comparison.
programme.
Can't really see.
Incidentally, if anyone's still interested in going to see the Beverly Hillbillies, I've managed to dig out this paragraph from a review of it in Scotland on Sunday. In the opening moments, Cloris Leachman's granny, I don't know if that's an actor or if that's one of the characters, because I never saw the Beverly Hillbillies. Anyway, the granny cures a fat fellow's indigestion with a swift punch in the solar plexus that results in a rousing belch and a hearty exhalation of air from the other end. If that sophisticated cocktail hour humour has you helpless with laughter, then this is clearly the experience you've been waiting for. Patronising, witless, and just plain awful, The Beverly Hillbillies is the kind of film you want to encase in cement and push off the nearest bridge.
I have to say, the person that I heard reviewing it on the radio the other day, yesterday in fact, who was saying much the same as that it's absolutely abysmal, had the same reaction to that film that I had to Pets win prizes. She said the film actually made her furious at the waste of time, money, resources, actors, actresses, and that kind of thing. You could come up.
I'll tell you what put me off it. There's one of an ex-Baywatch beauty in it, and I thought anything with an ex-Baywatch beauty in it, I am not going to
Pamela
watch.
Anderson, that's right. She's in it.
Is it as isn't it Erica Doodah that's in it?
No, oh, maybe it is. I thought it was Pamela Anderson, but you might be right. They all look the same.
On that witty note,
Yes.
we'll leave the
No,
film.
no, they do. So do you know what you're going to see for us next week?
No, but probably the Flintstones, as that's opening next week.
Flintstones.
Meet the Flintstones are a modern Stone Age family. Yeah.
Actually, I was going to play the BC52's version of it this evening, and I thought, nah, people are going to be sick to death of hearing
Oh, but I'll tell you what's also out next week. I think Sirens, the new Hugh Grant movie.
Yeah.
So I might be forced to go and drool over him.
Yeah, I want to see that because I hear Hugh Grant's very good in it.
Yeah, the fact that Al McPherson gets her spanners out, it's probably got nothing to do with the fact that you want to see it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she thought it was about
You've got
a
such
car
an
chase, didn't you?
innocent-looking face, Ian.
A police car chase and the siren going on off in the background.
I thought so, yes. I thought it was maybe a serious version of Naked Gun, or maybe they've made a third sequel to the original Sweeney film.
I actually went to a party today.
You're nicked.
And Hugh Grant was expected at this party.
No.
But I only stayed an hour, and I went home to come here.
Oh, heavens.
I know.
That's above and beyond the Call of Duty,
But
Samantha.
I'm the only woman on this planet that doesn't find Hugh Grant physically attractive, I'm afraid.
Well, for kitsch freaks like me, I'd be more impressed if Hugh Johns turned up.
Who's Hugh Johns?
He was a football commentator. He used to do Star Soccer for ATV in the 70s.
Maybe he was there, lots of people there. Who knows? Anyway, now it's time for another one of those nice records. But before we go to that, a quick reminder of the competition. Who had a hit with Electricity, a song called Electricity? It was a duo, an electro-pop duo. He also had hits with Enola Gay, Messages,
Joan of Arc. Maid of Orleans.
Yeah, they had millions of hits, actually. And one of the original members left a few years ago. And so only one of the original members is
Became
there.
Chris Humphries.
And became Chris Humphries.
Yeah.
Almost. Yet not quite. If you think you know and you'd like to win yourself a goodie bag, or you'd like to call in with a dedication or a joke before the end of the programme like this, hello to Craig North in Great Bar, then do please give us a call on 021 if you're outside Birmingham, 432 2000. I was on Ken's show earlier, if you heard it, and we had that weird, freaky, supernatural experience. You'd have heard us talking about the monkeys.
Sorry, a bit late with the echo there.
That's right, Ian. You'll have heard us talking about the monkeys, and here are the monkeys with Pleasant Valley Sunday. And Pleasant Valley Sunday, and these just reminded me of a horror that I'd completely forgotten about, which is the fact that there are rumours that Take That are planning a monkey-style TV romp.
Well,
yes, I've not heard anything more on that front.
If it's any comfort to you, a monkey-style TV romp was also planned for Haircut 100 in the 80s, and that never came to fruition.
Oops.
I doubt very much that this will either.
Oh, I hope not. Oh, please, no. No. Thank you. Some more of your letters. You remember on the programme last week I was talking about, I couldn't remember the name of one of our regular writers and listeners who I heard win a prize on Radio 5. It was Stuart Morrell. Stuart Morrell from Hawksley in Birmingham.
Congrats.
Thank you for your letter, Stuart, and it's nice to hear from you again. And he says, if I had a baby, would I be Mamma Mia?
That's quite funny.
I've heard that one before, actually. It's very funny.
Actually, that was a line in the panto, wasn't it?
I think it might have
Yes.
been, actually. But very good, Stuart. Thank you. Also, I've had a card from Amy Armstrong, which is like a picture of Pusscat for to love.
A lovely little cat.
This card is a tribute to Otto and Seymour. Actually, it looks very much like Hobbs, I have to say. It doesn't look very much like Seymour. He's sort of big and street. It looks like a polar bear that's had black paint splattered over him.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering about your cat, or more specifically, your other cat. I saw the one cat which was curled up by your side in the settee on Friday night. Well, where was your ugly cat?
What ugly cat? I don't have ugly cats.
The
What are you
less
talking
attractive
about?
cat of the pair.
Yes, you have. It's like it's like we've got a couple of good friends going out. One's good-looking and the other's a tug.
Are you talking about Seams?
I think I am. Yes.
Seymour's not a tug. He's beautiful.
You just said he was a polar bear with black paint on him.
Yeah, polar bears are beautiful. But he looks like he's huge. He's
Well, as
like-
Ray Stevens said, everybody's beautiful in their own way.
Oh. It's very funny that...
What a wonderful euphemism for ugly. You're beautiful in your own way.
Or you're beautiful inside.
Yeah.
No, but I read something very funny about because Seymour's got white ears, and I'm a sad person who has books about cats, which I keep in my toilet. So